So, good evening, everyone. Today I will be discussing all about Chapter 1, which is Introduction to Forensic Chemistry. So, forensic chemistry refers to a branch of chemistry that deals with the application of chemical theories and principles. So, sa forensic chemistry is nasa sa mga branch. And then, chemistry is application of chemical theories and principle in the solution of legal problems in relation to administration of justice. So, forensic chemistry is connected with criminology because in criminology, diha siya og magkuan sa kanang mga crime scene which is makatabang pud ang forensic chemistry to solve the case or regarding the evidences. So, the word forensic is derived from the Latin word forensis, which means of the forum or speaking the truth in public. The forum arguably the historical equivalent of modern days courts. It is also a place where ancient Romans used to conduct public discussions. So in forum, na ay information, na ay knowledge, na ay maista ay maingon, which is kato na information is reliable, and it is the application of scientific principle which to criminal and civil laws. So, the history of forensic chemistry is sa una ng mga panahon nag-use man gud og poison which is in Egyptian, Greeks and Romans. Demorites, an ancient philosopher, widely considered as the father of modern science, and probably um, he he is the first to study poisons. Poisoning was used by the ancient world as a method of murder and execution. So, ang poison sa una na panahon is gamitin sa murder and persecution. And in ancient world, as a method of murder and execution, Socrates was sentenced to death by drinking hemlock. So, ang hemlock isa ni sa ka-poison which is mabito ni mo siya ang imnon, a highly poisonous plant. The use of arsenic, a very poisonous metallic element, was so widespread during this time that by 18th BCE, so ang mga poison is the hemlock, the arsenic. This poison is for murder and execution. So in mid century, in mid 19th century, rapid advancement kung sa una na panahon is poison na ang hemlock ug arsenic, diri na century is naa na dinhi ang fingerprinting which is enable the identification of weapons used in crime. So example, kutsilyo, armas. So dito pag makaptan nimo kadto na butang, kadto na kutsilyo, which is mutatak dito ang imo fingerprint which mao na naan ang fingerprinting na makatabang siya sa pag-solve sa case o sa kaso. And then, in Locard's exchange principle, another key figure in the history of forensic science is Edmund Locard, who else made several significant contributions in the new science of fingerprinting. So, na po si contribution. Si Locard po ang exchange principle na best known in the Locard exchange principle, which is has been adopted as one of a Leib's trace, or the every contact between two objects results in exchange of trace between them. So si Locard po ang nag-highlight about kung si Christian about fingerprinting, si Locard is nag-highlight all about microscope. So makarakteras dito ang mga debris o disposition of clothing which a person is moving through different environments. This principle is further explained by Locard. So, the father of modern forensic toxicology is Orfila. Mateo Joseph Buenaventura Orfila is a Spaniard who worked at the University of Paris in the early 19th century. He is regarded as a father of modern toxicology. He pursued a career in medicine, was appointed professor of medical jurisprudence, and was a professor of chemistry in School of Medicine before serving as a dean of the faculty of the University of Paris. So, kanipod si Arfila, which is the founder of modern forensic toxicology, ang ija pod, he published pod books, na ija na publish na libro, which is in medical chemistry, elements of medical chemistry. It is um, named as treatise on illegal examinations. And then, Sir Francis Galton. Fingerprints. It's all about the fingerprints. So the role of fingerprinting in the field of forensic science was established with the publication of the first scientific book of fingerprinting. So, si Francis Galton, na ay role ang fingerprinting. Maunang sa forensic science, which is nag-publish po siya og scientific book. This landmark work was entitled Fingerprints and was written by Sir Francis Galton in 1822 and 1911. So, Galton's schemes uses a categorization based on three main patterns. So, si Galton, about sa fingerprint, nag-release pa siya ng scientific book. So, naay daw tulo ka pattern, which is the loops, the whorls, and the arcs. So, let's talk about the importance of forensic chemistry. So, forensic science deals with the application of science to legal matters and crime solving. So, grabe jud ka importante ang forensic chemistry. Kay application siya og science. Maubitaw na naay nahimo na fingerprinting, na ay microscope para makatabang sa crime solving, which is crime scene analysis involves the analysis of use of forensic chemistry, which is the principles in establishing the causes of an natural death, detecting illegal drugs in blood and urine, and determining the cause of fire. So, grabe ka-importante ang forensic chemistry. We talks about crime solving kay ma-detect man siya ang tanan. The causes, unsay mga maoy hinungdan, and makadetect siya about illegal drugs in blood urine. Kaya di ba na naman tayo microscope. So let's talk about forensic laboratories in the Philippines. So in the Philippines, the practice of forensic began with the passage of the Royal Decree number 11188, which is King Philip during the Spanish rule in the country. Under the decree, forensic position called medicos titulares, which is assigned to the Philippine provinces to perform public sanitary and medical legal duties. So, ang forensic laboratory sa Pilipinas makatapang pud siya to perform sanitary and medical legal duties. So, the crime laboratory. Ang crime laboratory is a scientific laboratory that uses a forensic science for the purpose of examining evidence from the criminal cases. So, it refers to a laboratory where highly trained technical personnel render various related services. The PNP Crime Laboratory consists of uniform and non-uniform personnel with high level of expertise. So, pangmulaong tag laboratory na adinha ang katong mga sa chemists, doctors, or sa medical field. We talks about kabalo sila sa kana na mga bulaton. In laboratory services na adiha ang autopsy, drug test, DNA examinations, examination of question documents, and fingerprinting services. And requesting parties must submit official letters. So, kung magpakuan mo din nga ng mga parties, kailangan nakasubmit mo og mga important documents to complete and signed by all person handle the subject drug specimen. So, in a forensic chemist is a professional chemist who analyzes the evidence from the crime scene. So, walay lain na pwede mag-analyze sa katong mga evidence na nakuha sa crime scene, which is ang forensic chemist rachod. It is the task of forensic chemists to identify and characterize the evidence as part of the overall crime solving process. So, Sa pinakasugod hangtod sa pinakalasan si Jara pwede ang mag-analyze, mag-identify ug mag-characterize as a part of overall crime solving process. So, they can provide technical explanation, they can assist in a final judgment as well as analyze the evidence. However, they cannot determine the verdict or versatility and patience are the off-sided qualities of a forensic chemist. So, kung forensic chemist, naa siya yung mga characteristic, which is be able to spend hours rigorously applying analytical techniques to evidence. So, kung ikaw, forensic chemist ka, dili ka pwede piminti magdali. Kailangan as long as wala pa na nahuman, o kailangan nimo tapuson, kailangan naa sa sakto na oras, and bisan pang mulagpas pa na sa pila ka minuto, pila ka oras, kailangan applying analytical techniques, which is kailangan na tayo diskarte. And number two is clearly and concisely answers challenges to his findings. So kung maglisod ka, naglisuan, dili masabtan na itagkalisdan, kailangan hanapan ng pamaagi so that pag-abot sa solving crime or pag-identify is ma-clarify and possess moral integrity. So if ikaw ang isa ka forensic chemist, dili dapat na juga integrity, no? Dapat being honest ka all about the results. So there are some functions of there are functions of forensic chemist is number one is to conduct qualitative and quantitative examination. Yes, it is very important. Conduct examination of all explosive ingredients. So, sa itong mga gigamit nimo para sa pagkuhan sa ebidensya. So that na ay findings na ay solving process. Conduct gunpowder examination of clothing to verify possible gunshot distance. So, atong paggamit sa pusil, mo nang kailangan nimo mag-conduct o kanang examination like when it comes about gunpowder. Conduct examination of big products in case of unfair trade or competition. So, i-compare nimo ang katong isa ka product o sa isa para makita nimo kung sa mila kalain o kisay ang mas reliable ani na evidence. O, conduct blood or alcohol determination and so on. There are 13 functions of forensic chemistry. So in the four stages in the practice of forensic chemistry is there first is stage 1, collection and reception of the specimen. This is with the collection, magkuha ka tong mga reference collection with handling, ikaw ang magkapot, which is the forensic chemist, and packaging of the specimen before an analysis can be started. So bago ka mag-analyze all about the evidences, kailangan mag-collect ka sa mga ebidensya. Number 2 is actual examination. The conduct of various examination procedures for different specimens submitted as requested by the requesting party. So, kung isa ka party o maghatag sila ng ebidensya, maghatag sila ng kanabutang, kailangan nimo sila i-examine. It is an actual examination. Stage 3 is report writing of the result. These steps involves the drafting of the positive or negative result. So, kailangan siya nakasulat or nakabutang dito whether it is positive or negative na adyo dapat findings or na dapat na resulta. In stage 4, court appearance. This is the final stage wherein the chemist must explain to the court the findings of the examination conducted to the specimen submitted. So, sa court appearance, dito na nimo ang forensic chemist, dito na siya mag-explicar. Mauna na ang final stage wherein makita na sa court unsay findings about the examination has been conducted. So, the forensic chemist, an expert witness in a court. So, education. One must be a licensed. So, kung mag-forensic chemist ka, of course, you must be, dapat graduate. You have, well educated and very knowledgeable when it comes to your work. Training, you must undergo trainings and seminars in the field of forensics so para makakaton pa ka, maka-explore pa ka ng mga lain na butang or napay mo pwede na ma-enhance. Or experience, one must have hands-on experience involving laboratory. So, kailangan in laboratory dapat kabalo ka unsay paraan ni unsaon nimo pagka mabuhat ng sakto because ang forensic chemist is dili basta-basta na trabaho. Kailangan ka ng pasansya. Nga naman, kay diha nakasalalay itong mga ebidensya which is mag-collect ka ikaw ang mag-analyze or diha sad makuan ang final results which is in court appearance. So, in golden rules in the practice of forensic chemistry, it this includes go slowly, be thorough, take notes, consult others, use imagination, avoid complicated theories. So, these are the golden rules in the practice of forensic chemists. And so we proceed to chapter 2, which is physical evidence. This is to identify the value of physical evidence in criminal investigation, determine the different kinds of physical evidence, and identify the various methods employed in the collection of physical evidence. So, why um, what is physical evidence? It is refers to any material objects introduced in a trial for the purpose of proving a fact in an issue based on its demonstrable physical characteristics. So, ang physical evidence is any material object na naa sa crime scene which is ang tagkinahanglan na dapat na pwede nimo kuhaon. This includes all or part of any conceivable object, consumable, no? Physical evidence found at a crime scene in a small but measurable amounts are called trace evidence. So, katong nga measure example, the clothing, the fiber, or katong the specimen kung kinakailangan or the gunpowder. This no, the examples is the body fluids, the DNA, the fingerprints, hair, the fibers, paint, glass, and explosives, ballistics, impression questions, and documents. So, um, value of physical evidence. It has already been mentioned. Um, that physical evidence is much more reliable than testimonial evidence. Why? Kaya ang physical evidence, manggudi na siya pwede mautro. Pag ma-examine na siya or else ma-identify na, di na siya pwede ma-changes pa. Wherein ang testimonial evidence is can be changed. No? Pwede siya mautro. Kani ani facts imong istorya. Ikaduha na anay something o na anay mali or nagdugang nakagistorya. So, human factor compared with testimonial evidence which may change mao nang giingon kayo na ang testimonial evidence daw is a human factor that can be changed while physical evidence can't lie, die, or forget, di siya pwede malimtan. In addition, the source of testimonial evidence may also be lost. Pwede siya mawaya, no? Pwede siya ma-change, pwede mawaya. But while ang physical evidence is dili siya pwede malimtan. Physical properties, physical evidence cannot change, whereas testimonial evidence is based solely in interpretation that can change or be erroneous. So there is a circumstantial variability. It is to establish proof beyond reasonable doubt, establish probable cause, establish a suspect presence at a crime scene. So in circumstantial, dapat na ana siya ang proof, ang probable cause, and the presence at the crime scene. So, collection of physical evidence. So, unsa man dai collection of physical evidence? So, ang mag-collect di ana the scene of the crime operation which is the SOCO. They must have several main goals in mind during the process of collecting evidence from a crime scene. So, reconstruct the crime, they identify the analysis and the collection such as evidence in a way that will make them stand up in a court. So, trace evidence is a constituent that most common type of physical evidence which an investigator and or crime scene specialist is likely encounter. Trace evidence refers to a microscopic materials found out in a crime scene such as hair, di ba? Ang hair, kaya hindi ba ito mabilang? Ang blood. Ang blood, di siya pwede makontaminate. Ang glass, ang foot or tire impression or fiber, sa mga baro or paint, in a name of few. This collection evidence begins once a crime scene has been thoroughly processed at the execution of the crime evidence have been recorded. So, katong pag-collection nimo sa mga evidence, of course, imo siya i-record kung sa imong mga nakolekta. And photograph should be also taken continuously, because in the investigator it can be reveals layers of evidence not previously documented because they were hidden from the site. And it is important to the note of evidence containing moisture should not be packaged in a plastic or paper containers for a period exceeding 2 hours. Example, magkuhan ka og kanang dugo tapos nakabalot sa plastic or which is the paper container for 2 hours. So, di siya pwede ma-hold for 2 hours kaya makontaminate na siya. As long as na na-collect na yung evidence, kailangan na siya i-process, kailangan na siya kay katong maguna evidence is magamit siya para abot sa court appearance. So, dapat kailangan na siya ma-process at na time. Because trace evidence might also include illicit drugs and chemicals or paint and gunshot residues in glass. So, ang katong mga physical evidence, ang SOCO member can also use a pair of tweezers, lighted plastics containers. So, sila na ang mag-collect sa mga ebidensya. So, there are guiding principles in collection of physical evidence. Number one is sufficiency of sample. Of course, di din mo na pwede ko ako ng ebidensya kung kana siya wala siya labot and then di siya makatabang wala about sa pag-solve sa case. Dapat you must have a sample for analysis that should be submitted to the series of lab tests that can be performed. Katong sufficient, tama, dili pong nagkuyang, dili pong nagsobra, sakto lang. And standard for comparison. A standard should be submitted to the comparative analysis and can be performed and facilitated to evaluation on unfair trade competition. So, standard. So, kung ano tag kinahanglan maola dapat para in case of comparison di naka pwede maglibog kay ang forensic chemist is dili siya basta-basta na trabaho. When it comes to physical evidence, kailangan na siya um, i, um, kailangan na siya ma-perform with about sa laboratory. Maintenance of individuality. Different specimens should be packed and evaluated to prevent contamination. Kung tayo example, sa isa ka tao, kailangan mabutang na siya sa plastic container. Di siya pwede isagol o tibu-tibuon. Kailangan naka-label dito kung unsa na day, unsa na kinsa ni pangayan, blood, something. Labeling and sealing. Individually packed, each specimen should be labeled and sealed. So, kung butangan mo label, na oras, unsa na, na adlaw, or kani, unsa na crime sin ana, dapat nakadetalyado when it comes to information. Because, para avoid confusion in the preparation of request and documents. So, pag abot na magud sa court appearance, pag manginahanglan na og mga information all about the physical evidence and the documents, dili na ka ma-confuse kung asa pa nang ni mo gibutang, which is sayon rakan paghanap sa documents. So, that is why it is important that we know all about the physical evidence because it is proving the fact issue based on demonstrable physical characteristics. So, that would be all for our discussions, and thank you for listening.